family. Welcome back to Kingdom Huddle. This episode, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. As you all aware, we are living in some crazy times, some unusual time. The pandemic has altered all of our lives. And as adults, it's easy for us to overlook those who have been most impacted by the pandemic. And those individuals are the youth. It's very important for us as parents to go beyond just asking them, are you okay? So today I'm actually going to sit down and talk to my boys heart to heart, conversations that we normally have around our dinner table. We're inviting you into it because it's very important that we check in with our youth, because suicide is on the rise. Depression, anxiety, all of these things are on the rise, and we cannot turn a blind eye to it as adults. We have to have the hard conversation with our children and make sure that they're okay. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Kingdom Huddle. As you all can see, I am not sitting by myself. I am surrounded by men, young men and mature
Young
men.
man.
Anyways, this is my family, and today, as I stated in the intro, we're going to be just taking a moment to talk to them about real life issues, things that we're facing, the pandemic, race issue. But before we get into all of that, I want for them to take a moment to introduce themselves and maybe tell an interesting fact about themselves.
Hello, my name is Simeon, and I'm in the 8th grade. One important thing that you want to know about me is that I love to play sports.
Hello, my name is Joshua. I'm in the 5th grade and I like the garden.
Hello, my name is Josiah, and I'm in the 2nd grade, and I like sports too.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, you all remember my handsome husband, Mr. Clay Parker.
Say that part again.
Handsome husband. We're not here for that, but anyways. So, as I stated, we are living in a time, in an era where we've never seen before. We have never seen the whole world shut down at one point because of a pandemic. So, there's a lot that's changed in life, and including the way that our children are raised, the things that they used to partake in, how they interact with each other. And honestly, I couldn't imagine being a youth during this period. I remember hearing on the news how some of the children didn't even have a prom, and prom was such a big deal. Like, you look forward to prom, and there's so many different things, school dances, all those things had to be cut out. Having lunch with your parents, some of those things had to be cut out. And for us, at one period, we decided when the pandemic first hit last school year to keep our kids at home, to do virtual learning. And that was a challenge. It was a challenge because I saw the change in their personality. They are boys that they like going out, they like socializing, and for the first time, we had to just stop everything, just to be cautious, because we never knew who was walking around with the virus. Oh my God, can I catch it today? Can I, so we were very vigilant in the beginning, and we still are. So right now, I just want us to take a moment for the boys to share, like, what was life before the pandemic? Who were you? How were you thinking? Were you worried? What are things that were concerning you? Or even if you had any concerns, anybody can answer that question. How was life for you before the pandemic?
It was really busy. We had a lot of stuff that we had to do. With them being, all of us being at the church, that's like an hour and probably more away. We also had to worry about sports and school and getting to this place on time, getting to that place on time. So it was very busy. The corona made us like slow down and just think, have some time together, talk about stuff. And I think that made our relationship grow. And that's what really led to my mom starting this, because it was like a focus moment to like talk about certain things.
Yeah. What about
I agree with Simeon, but I think before Corona hit, I think we were socializing with people more than we were, because Because you could talk to people without the mask. You don't have to worry about anything. You can just be yourself, but without the mask.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Josiah? What was life like for you before this pandemic and everything shut down and stuff?
It was easier, but like Simeon said, we had to get every place on time, and we had to go to church. Church for Bible study, and on Sunday we had to go to church. So that was harder, but it's easier.
Yeah. Yeah, so pretty much, what they're explaining is we have 3 active boys and they were engaged in sports and they were heavily involved in the school in the church activities and of course our own lives and stuff. We try to have family time, but we were busy. We really were that parent that we were at the ball field or a basketball court. We were just always gone doing something, and it got kind of exhausting always eating out, honestly, because our church is over an hour away. So the quickest thing, you pick this person up from school, we're running to try to get to church, the Bible study on time, and then trying to get back here to get them in bed. It was just constantly going. And the pandemic did cause us to slow down. It caused us to slow down, and we did have moments where we enjoyed being together. Okay, but so I want us to switch gear a little bit. I want us to talk about, the race issue. That's the obvious thing that's been happening. Before Corona hit, we were dealing with citizens against cops. Then we're dealing with the Democrat and Republican. That was always. And of course, seeing a lot of African American males being killed, shot, and nothing happening, where it seems like no justice happened. And for us, we happen to be living in a community where we're the only Black family that I know of in this area. And it calls us to, for me, it calls me to rethink certain things. And I'm not generalizing, and I'm not saying this everybody in our area is like this. So please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because we are blessed with a neighbor. Her name is Jane Luther. If you know her, just give her a hug when you see her, because she is the sweetest person you've ever met. Our boys even treat her like their grandma, like another grandma. And she is white, but she is such a loving woman from day one. But we still, in 2021, being transparent, we still have race issues that we deal with. We still have neighbors that would rather cross the street as opposed to speaking to us, or turn their head when we say hello and just keep moving. We still have that. And we live in a community, there's cliques everywhere. But we live in a community where most of these people have been knowing each other all their lives. So there's cliques. So at times we don't quite know where we fit. And I know for me, watching a lot of the race issues on TV and knowing that I'm raising Black African American men, it concerned me. It really, really concerned me, because I felt like, God, it doesn't matter what we do. The fact that we're trying to raise our children the right way. They're Christians. They love the Lord. They're active in church. They're smart boys. They're respectful. But at the end of the day, when they walk out the door, because they have more pigment in their skin compared to somebody else, they're a target. They're a target. Automatically, they're assumed to be criminals. They're assumed to be disrespectful. And I'm afraid that somebody's going to want to use my children as a target because they're upset about something in the world. That's a real threat and fear that we have as African Americans, and I would say that I have, because I don't want to speak for everyone, that I have in living in America, is I don't know what would happen to my boys, because their skin is weaponized. They're automatically assumed to be guilty as opposed to really getting to know them. So I want for a moment for us to talk honestly, and this is our real experience. It's not anything that we're making up. Honestly, how do you all feel being most of the time the only Black on your different teams, on your football, baseball, basketball, being the only Black in your classroom? How do you feel about that?
Sometimes I feel left out. Like they said, there's like a lot of cliques around here because people have been knowing each other for a long time. So when you're a different person and you try to come into that environment, it's different.
It's hard.
It's hard because people have been knowing each other, and you try to join, and sometimes it's not really like the same. So, and I also have another type of feeling like I am kind of a part of what they're doing. I have some friends that are really nice to me and that care about me, and so sometimes it makes me feel like I'm just left out, and in other times I feel like I'm one of them. Like I just really feel that way because that's the way they've been treating me.
What about you, Joshua?
Well, I'm kind of like Simeon, but I have like friends that like kind to me. They know me, but we've been here for a while, and then there's still some kids who just don't like me, like just don't want to be around me. Even though I'm a super nice kid, I'm smart, but there's just some kids that just don't want to be around you, so you just have to deal with it.
Yeah. Now, I also want to ask this question because we've had this conversation as a family, and I want you to start, Josiah. How did it make you feel seeing cops killing black men, and when the videotapes come out and we see that it looks like the person was running away or the person was saying, please stop, like the what's the name, George Floyd, I can't breathe, and they have their neck on his, knee on his neck. How did it really make you feel seeing that on TV?
Mad.
Speak up, son.
Why?
Why'd you feel mad?
Oh, you mad?
Because we didn't do anything.
Yeah. So I see you get emotional about that. Talk about it. What's the emotion about? Like we talk at the dinner tables, it's okay to say how you really feel. You want to take a moment? Okay. Anybody else want to add to that?
Well,
I was shocked. Like, how could you be in the law enforcement and still have a thought of all people are bad? Everybody is bad. How can you be in law enforcement and do things that nobody's ever taught you to do? Nobody's professionally taught you to sit on somebody's neck like that. That's not right. And I that's just the way I felt. I was shocked.
What about you, Joshua, seeing those things?
well, you always hear about like the racial issues, but to actually see it in real life, I guess it was different. Like it opened you up. Like this is real. You gotta think about it every day when you go to school. Like you're the only person. What if a police? Not saying all police do this.
Yeah.
What if somebody just comes up to you and say, "Hey, put your hands up"? But you just have to deal with it sometimes. But it just makes you realize like what we're going through in America.
Yeah.
I think it would be harder for you. Like you can't act a certain way somewhere. If you act that way, they're gonna be like, "Oh, what are you doing?" But they'll let the other person slide when like you're doing the same thing.
Give me an example so that people can understand what you're saying.
So, kind of say you're playing around, you're messing around, and then your friend gets away with pushing somebody or punching somebody. Then you go do the same thing, and then here goes somebody, "Hey, you're not supposed to do that." But then you say the other person did the same thing, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna let him get away with that."
Okay. What about you? You are an African American male, 6'5", very tall guy. You know, how do you feel being in this society in this era?
Well, I think it's just awakening. But to hear my boys talk about how angry they are and how hurt they are, and see my little guy tear up, it makes me angry because there's things that shouldn't happen. And the part that makes me more angry about it, that people would actually ignore it and make excuses like it's not real. Oh, they're just making up, or fentanyl or whatever that drug was is in the system, and deny it. I've even had people who were cops call me of other colors and try to justify that, and it makes me angry because it is a reality of it. You don't live like that. And for the record, I will make sure they know this, that we come from a family of cops. Love them. Want to be one, FBI, like the U.S. Marshal. I want to do that. Still love it. Family's there right now. So it's a matter of perspective. And I think it's a matter of letting the kids express themselves. But we can't ignore it as real. I'm afraid. And not even last year, not even 6 months ago, guys, y'all remember that y'all with your grandmother, in another county, and someone followed you around the store as if you were stealing.
Yeah.
Like, do the right thing. That made me angry. And that was like, my daddy gave us money, and my grandmother's on the other side of the store, but they followed you around like you were criminals.
Yeah.
And I even gave them an example, like, this is what I've been telling you about, because it's going to happen. But the thing that we have to make sure that we hear, and this is about unity, and it's about awareness, and about being real, that this stuff does happen.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to explain my boys after the George Floyd situation. Explain to them or comfort them that their daddy gonna make it home tonight. I'm not a criminal. I have a criminal record at all. I'm a professional. I try to make myself known. I try to respect everybody. But the reality is, you get that bad one that could hurt you. It could take my life. And then they growing up without a father. So those things are real. You can't live in that fear. So I teach them also, you got to live your life, because truth be told, we've been here 15 years. We haven't had any problems.
No.
Nobody's ever bothered. As a matter of fact, they all speak to us. The cops speak to us. Some buy me lunch, and we talk. We have open conversations, even with the chief here. So I can honestly say that. But the thing that we try to get them to realize, that there is a difference.
Yeah.
There is a difference, because we still live in a community, like you say, we're the only others.
Yeah.
And you see that, we was walking down the street one day, you see a family, we speak to them, they look at us like we're trash and go to the other side of the street. My kids like, what happened? I said, that's what I've been telling you about. So it's not everybody, but you can't ignore the exception to the rule. So as a father, I teach them to be, like my father taught me, respect people.
Yeah.
Respect people. But also speak about reality. These things do happen. Have I been pulled over with no cause, feel like I was profiled? Absolutely. A lot of times. It happens. But on the other side of it, education will teach you how to do it. But that's not all. You comply. I could comply. It could happen. So I just try to tell the boys, make sure you know where you are, and make sure you know who you with, and make sure you know who around. We have to watch our kids. We just can't let them do anything like that. And that is so unfair. But I also think that an important part about it is that when we go to the other side, when we go back home,
Yeah.
and we go back to our own community, they don't even fit in there. They don't understand that we try to stay at our parents' house, and drive-by shootings happen in the neighborhood by our own people. So they're like, man, what's happening here? And you shouldn't have to live like that either. So it does go, but we have peace here. No one's ever even stolen a ball out the yard that I know of. But on the other side, you go down and spend the night in another part of the neighborhood, then you have drive-by shooters that you like, man, my kids can't go outside. My father's truck gets shot up. It was an accident, I'm assuming, but he get hit by a bullet. So we never had that either. So it's a matter of perspective on both sides. I feel bad for my kids sometimes, because it's a matter of where do they fit in at.
Yeah.
We in this community the only other. I see it all the time, and it makes me angry. Some of your friends that speak to you when they one-on-one, they're your buddy. But when they get around their cliques up here, they look at my kids and look at them like, I don't know you. They look at this almost like a tolerance thing of that. But I tell them I experienced that. I play sports around here. Some of the guys, hey, when they ain't got nobody, hey, Clay, what's up? When they get around their buddies, you ain't gonna play with them. You ain't gonna be a part of that. They got their cliques, you show up, and they like, wow, you like, wow, I thought we was boys or brothers. It happens here. Teach them the reality of it. The best way I can do to protect them is, number one, be an example for them. That their daddy stand proud and tall, and they know I'm not afraid of nobody. I'm going to go wherever I want to within reason. I'm going to show respect to people, and I'm going to show that. And I get that. That's what I try to teach them, be an example. But on the other side of it, I teach them there's another reality that you got to deal with. You got to pick your poison with either one of them. And like you say, and educate them, is we have peace around here.
Yeah.
And we haven't had some of these things happen. So I'm thankful for that. But it's still sad that we still live in 2021, that this stuff is still happening.
Yeah.
Just because the color of our skin. And we need to come together and talk about these things. And I hope and pray that I can just raise my boys to be the example of change. Not all of them are like that. Not all of them are like that. Not all cops are bad. Not all blacks are bad. Not all that. Because I'm ashamed of some of the stuff that my own people do. Yeah. I'm ashamed, and that doesn't speak for me. And I've had people say, when you understand this, well, Clay, you're different. You're the exception because you dress nice. You're a professional. Well, you don't do these things. We know you don't do these things. It don't make no difference. That's because you know me. But that person will know me when I stand up out that car and I'm 6'5", and it's dark night or whatever happened. They don't know me.
Right.
I'm a weapon, and it does happen. So I just educate them on this, and just also give them the confidence. Know one thing, and I've had to learn this: that God is in charge.
Right.
He's gonna protect me. He's gonna take care of me, and He's done it thus far.
I'm so glad that you pointed that out, brought that issue out, because we do feel like we don't fit in anywhere. Really anywhere. I'm a Liberian, and when I take my children to Liberian functions, African functions, I don't feel like they fit in there. I don't feel like they fit in our community. I don't feel like they fit in the black community and with his parents' neighborhood, because they're always saying they speak too proper. They're not sagging their pants. They're not "what's up, man, yo, man," and they're not rapping. It's just like being able to understand where they fit is something that I keep trying to teach them, that God is the one that's going to show you who your identity is. You find your identity through Christ, not where you live at, not the family you're from, not where you're born, not your skin color, not even your gender. Your identity is found from Christ. And that's what I'm hoping that parents will remind their children of, that we have a lot of people who are causing their kids to be proud of things that really, that's not anything to be proud of. Because, oh, I was born in this family. Oh, I'm this race. Oh, I'm that gender. We have to go back to the basic. Our coach Jesus is the focus. He's the one he's the role model for our children. We have to introduce them to him. And that's something that I've taken very personal, and I've been very intentional on raising my kids. I'm not forcing God down their throat, but I'm at least introducing them to him. I'm at least saying, listen, this is the person that you should listen to. These are the books that you should read. This is what this means. So as parents, I hope you take your role serious as someone who is guiding them. Another area that I want us to jump into is expectations. We oftentimes force our expectation on our children, not even consulting with God to figure out what God wants us to do and lead them and what God created them to do. A lot of times, parents are so focused on, don't mess up our family name. That's from poor families, African families, American families, rich families. It's about the name. And I see a lot of times parents who are trying to live through their children. Because you didn't become that lawyer, you're going to make sure that she become that lawyer. Because you didn't end up playing ball professionally, you're going to make sure that your child played ball professionally. But you never stop to say, well, God, what is my role in this season in their life? Because God will tell you. And the thing about children, God puts a unique gift inside of them that they know who they are at an early age. If you pay attention as a parent, you can pull that out of them. You can nurture them. At an early age, I know that Joshua is a leader. Like, he is born with leadership skills, leadership potential, where he doesn't have to be told certain things. He look around, he see the need, and he go after it. At an early age, Josiah is very gifted, very talented. I mean, he has coordination and can just do anything, any sport. He got that. At an early age, Simeon has the biggest heart. Like, he loves people. He's concerned about people. He want to make sure that people are good, they're okay. He's a nurturer at an early age. I didn't say anything about ball playing. And that's one thing that I really want us, especially African American families, to understand. Not every child is created to play ball, y'all. Just because he's black, he's tall, he's big, he's strong. Oh yeah, he's a football player. Oh, he's a basketball player. Not necessarily. Why not we teach our children how to be what? Owners.
Owners of teams. News anchors.
Right. It's like, stop boxing your kids in based on your expectation. Because my husband is a pastor doesn't mean we expect them to be pastors. That may not be their calling. It may be, but we don't know, But I just want for you all to talk a little bit about expectations. Like, what do you see yourself becoming in the future?
Well, let me ask. Can I ask a
Okay.
question?
Yeah.
Boys, do y'all feel the pressure that because Daddy played sports, or he played in college, or he played softball, or he played this? Do y'all feel the pressure of like playing the same things that we played, or my family, or my nephews in the NFL, or do y'all feel the pressure about that?
Well, it's not more pressure. It's just like a want. I want to be like Brandon because he's in the NFL with my cousin. But
Oh, shout out real quick. Plug for Brandon
BP75
Parker. We
Raiders.
love you. Part of the Raiders team. You keep going, boy. We love you. Keep your head up. Go ahead.
yeah, I want to go to the NFL, but it's not like, oh, I'm gonna do everything to go in the NFL. I want to be a business owner. I want to garden. I have other things in life than just playing sports.
Mm.
I can be successful at it if God wants me to.
That's
But
right.
if he doesn't, I know where he's leaving me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Simeon, what's some of your passions?
Some of my passions are playing sports. I like music, so I play in band. Those are just some of the few things that I like to do, and I don't feel that pressure. Y'all give me enough space that I don't have to feel that pressure. Y'all have given me enough talks and stuff like you don't have to be this certain person. You don't have to be an amazing sports player. You don't have to go to a national championship just to make me proud. You don't have to do all those certain stuff. But like Josh was saying, I want to be that stuff. You don't have to be like, oh, you don't have to. You don't have to. I want to, and that's one of my goals to be able to play professional.
Okay.
What you-
Josiah, did you ever feel pressure because Dad played sports that you have to play sports?
No,
No.
I like sports.
Tell us some about your interests, some of the things that you're interested in, some of the things you're good at.
Drawing, sports, making music.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. You know, for me as an African, it was always the pressure of being a doctor, a lawyer, or a successful business person. And a lot of times we can mess up our identity with expectation from our parents. And it took me a long time to really embrace my identity as a mom, a nurturer, because I felt like it wasn't good enough. I felt like it wasn't good enough. And for those parents who are out there feeling shame because your child didn't choose the route that you wanted them to go, sometimes that's really up to God. It's not up to you. You know, we can really mess up our children's identity by trying to force them into a box that God never created them to be in. We were never created to be in a box. One thing I love about David and from the Bible, he was great at many things. He was a shepherd. When we first found out about David, he loved music. He knew how to write music. He knew how to play instrument. He was a warrior. He was also very sensitive. There's so many layers to David and so many layers to your children. And there's different seasons where they're going to be interested in certain things that you be like, oh God, they're falling off track. But if you really present that child to God, and if you really introduce them to God at an early age, you have to trust God with them. You have to take your hands off of them. That's something that I had to learn because I never wanted my boys to play football. Oh my goodness. For years, my husband was like, just let them play, let them play. And I was like, no, God, I can't. Oh no. Oh God. And then I had a moment where I had to really pray. And this is what God told me in my prayer time. He was just like, your trust with me is conditional. You only trust me to a certain extent when it comes to your children. You won't fully release them to me, so I won't be able to do what I need to do in them until you take your hands off of them. And I was like, oh God. As soon as I heard that, and I knew it was God because I know his voice. I spent time with him, so I know his voice. That's when I was just like, okay, I was the one that signed him up. And Clay was like, what? I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. You know, because I felt like I was standing in their way of whatever it is that God wanted to teach them, show them, and grow them in. So that's just my encouragement for you all that, you know, have conversations with your children. It's very important. We are in a constant go, 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 go society. But don't forget, this is your number one priority. This is your number one assignment. Your children, your family. This is the number one thing. You cannot afford to fail in this area. Even if you're quote unquote not successful according to the world standards, but in the household, make sure your house is in order. Check in with your kids. Anxiety, depression, suicide, all these different things are on a rise for the youth, and we cannot turn a blind eye to it. We have to be plugged in with our children. Okay?
And I think we have to be open with them also. One of the things I grew up with, and I know that, it's like you had to live by that name. You're a Parker. Once you're a Parker, you're gonna play a sport. If I was gonna play drums or something like that, I know in my day, I'd have been shame. It'd have been shame brought up on me. You're not gonna be a drummer, a 6'5" drummer. Man, what's wrong with you?
Right.
And my family brought that up on me. So it really kind of narrowed us and pigeonholed us into making a choice. Now, don't get me wrong. We were good at it. I'm thankful for it because I wanted to do it like my boys. But my thing about it, there may be some things that we could explore that would have brought shame up in us. So my thing as a father, like I tell them, what's the rule, guys? If you're going to do what, you're going to have to do what?
Give it 150%.
That's it. If you're going to drum, make sure you're the best drummer. If you're going to be a gardener, make sure you're the best gardener. Give it your best effort. If you're giving it your best effort, you've done what you needed to do. I live with that pressure. And my older brother can tell you it was even worse for him because he was better than I was. We live with that pressure. It was either pass or fail. That's too much to put on any person, any child, or anything. Not saying that my parents did a bad job. They did a great job raising us. We never been to jail. We all came out, we saved, we were successful. All of us graduated college. I mean, I'm thankful for that. Yeah. But when it comes to this area right here, we have to be very careful about how we just push them into that situation. I don't want to bring shame up on them. Of course, I want to see my boys play football for the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers.
No.
Of course.
Actually, I'm fine with Pittsburgh. I like
Of course, I want to see them go to the NBA. Of course, I want to see hit the ball out of Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see these things. But at the end of the day, that's me. I've lived my life. My knees are bad. I'm old. I've done what I needed to do. What do you want to do? As a father, once they make their plan, it is my job to invest in that. Okay, son, you want to be a gardener? How can we get a garden in our backyard next year? But I want to do it from the beginning for him, Joshua, because I'm going to see if you take it seriously. He did a little garden in our flower bed this year. So next year, it's my job as a father to say, you know what? He take it seriously. He come home, he waters his plants, he picks his green beans, he does what he needs to do. So I'm going to invest in that. Simi wants to be a drummer. Instead of beating on my cabinets,
Lord,
let me find something you can drum on. So I bought him a set. He was like, Daddy, you really did that? It's my job. If Josiah want to be an artist or make music, it's my job to invest in that.
Right.
But here's what I don't do. I don't just give it to him. Let me see if you're serious about it first.
Right.
Now, sometimes it's trial and error. But let me see if you're serious about it first. But once you show me that you're serious about it, my job as a father is to pour it out into you. It may not be for you. Your brother may pick it up. So that's my job as a father, to do that. But I guess what? Whatever you do, wherever you go, boys, y'all remember, I'm going to be your best cheerleader.
Yeah.
If you're doing drums, Sammy, you know I'm going to be on the side dancing until I'm embarrass you. Josh, you're going to be a gardener. We're going to do what we got to do. Say what?
That's about right.
That's about right. I'm going to be that. I'm going to be that type of father. If you're going to be on the football field, I'm going to cheer the loudest when you score a touchdown, make a sack. But I'm also going to be the one on the sideline and say, boy, if you don't tighten it up and get through that line and give me your 150%, am I right?
Yeah.
I don't care about Joshua, if you don't strike out. I don't care if you walk 10 people. Throw the ball hard. Give me your all. But there's not an option to quit.
Yeah.
If you put your heart into it.
Yeah.
Until you say, this is no longer my desire. So I think we have to be careful about that. Like you say, labeling. That's scary. So Josh, you may be the business owner. He may be a pastor. He don't have to do what I have to do. I want to give my kids every opportunity to dream and be whatever they can be. You don't have to play in the NFL. But if you want to do it, then guess what? You can be a sports agent. You can be the owner of a team. Yeah. It's my job to provide that for them. And guess what? It's not, I tell them all the time, if you want to play football at LSU, if you want to play football at Clemson, don't start where you're at right now. We may be in a small town, but when you get on that field, play like you want to play there. Play like you already at LSU, Clemson, or wherever you want to go. So play like it. Set your standards above that. And when people around your area tell you that, You tell them I'm playing like I want to be there. Because haters going to always hate on you. But you're going to have to rise above that in everything that you do. And that's all I expect out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to close out. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you all got a chance to meet my boys, you know.
The fellas.
Yeah, the fellas. This is my crew. I'm the only girl. Even the dogs are all boys, y'all. Yeah, so I am the only girl in my household, but I am blessed. But once again, parents, understand that being a parent is a gift.
Yes, it is.
I hope it's not a burden to you.
It is.
I know it's a sacrifice, but it's truly a gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are gifts that God has given to us, and I want to do my best to grow them, to mature them, to love on them, and try to make their childhood the best experience possible. And you still can do that in a pandemic. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you keep your family number one. God number one, and your family too. Take care of those that God has invested and, you know, given to you. Take care of them. You know, the future is bright for our youth, and we need to be the village for our youth. I hope that you were able to get some nuggets from this conversation. This is not the last time that you're going to see my crew with me, but we love you all. Stay tuned to Kingdom Huddle. Until we see each other again. Bye-bye.
Bye.